I do not own a Star Wars hat, which I don't know how I don't own a Star Wars hat, but we're gonna deal with this hat again. Hey guys, I'm gonna continue with the rides videos this week, and we're gonna cover Hollywood Studios. Hence why I'm wearing Star Wars, because Star Wars is a big part of Hollywood Studios. We'll talk about that. And Mickey, because if you haven't checked out my Mickey unboxing / review video that I posted this week, do that. These are Target exclusives, so he actually plays music, and if you check that out, you can see how he moves and dances. Awesome. Okay, so Hollywood Studios is interesting. There's not a lot at Hollywood Studios right now. With that being said, I did attend right before Toy Story Land opened, which included 2 more rides plus a reimagined ride that already existed. So there wasn't a whole lot to do. In fact, I actually went in the morning, left in the afternoon for a couple hours to go cool off and shower, and then came back at night for Fantasmic and the fireworks. So this is probably gonna be a pretty quick video. There are actually only 5 experiences / rides that I did while I was there. But let's write them down real quick and then let me know in the comments what your favorite is and what you're looking forward to. I'm definitely looking forward to going back to Hollywood Studios on this next trip and talking about Toy Story Land, because I did get a Slinky Dog Dash Fast Pass, so I am very excited to be able to ride that. Toy Story Mania, I did in California. It'll be okay. I'll probably do that, but that one's, again, kind of like a competition game. I'm not really sure, but I could challenge myself to get a high score for myself, right? And then Aliens Rolling Saucers, might do that. The Fast Passes are gone at this point for that one, probably because that's the backup to Slinky Dog. So we'll see. Anyway, let's get started. The first thing I rode was Hollywood Tower of Terror. Now, I've ridden this in California. I've ridden this in Hollywood Studios. This is a great ride. It's a lot of fun. They have randomized the drops now, so you really don't know what you're gonna get, and the experiences are gonna be different. I was in the back. I like the story of it. I like the mystique of it. I had a Fast Pass. I didn't wait too long. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Haunted Mansion, the way that it tells the story and unfolds, and like the decrepit old building. I really want to make sure I rode this ride because there is the rumor that they're going to get rid of the Twilight Zone branding to this, which is a smart decision, right? If Disney doesn't own Twilight Zone, which they do not, then why license that? Why not use their own license and theme it? Which is what they did in California with the Guardians of the Galaxy overlay, which is the old ride. After that, I did my only single rider pass line with a rock and roller coaster, which was an interesting experience. I think I'm gonna do a video on what it's like to go to Disney World solo, but I wanted to try one and the line was okay. With single rider lines though, you end up having to wait until they need a single rider. So while it might be faster than the normal line, and it was, you still kind of have to wait a bit. And I felt like the ride kept breaking down. At least there were some announcements which I don't remember as being part of the aesthetic that implied that the ride was breaking down or there was a delay in the ride. It is a fun coaster. It is the most coaster-like coaster at Walt Disney World. It is probably a little bit scary for kids, but I like it. It's a dark coaster, it's inside. I like it more than Space Mountain at this point. I like the theming, the music, it's a great time. They haven't changed it. I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same ride that it was when I was there in 2000, but it's fine. A great experience. It's definitely something that you want to do at Hollywood Studios. It is probably the most adult ride in all of Walt Disney World as well, so if you're an adult and you're there, it's a fun time. After that, I headed over to Star Wars Launch Bay. And so I was basically killing some time because I was waiting for my Fast Pass for Star Tours. And I figured Star Tours would be where Launch Bay is. It is not. So it was decked out with theming for Solo, a Star Wars movie, because that had just come out a few weeks earlier. It was an interesting experience. You really walk in, you kind of get immersed in Star Wars. So it seems like this is a precursor to what Galaxy's Edge will be like. But I was immediately followed by a stormtrooper who got up close and personal, and I couldn't stop laughing because I didn't know what to do or how to respond. And they have some catchphrases they can play back. It was really interesting and really entertaining. I wish I had someone that had taken a picture of me with the stormtrooper, but I've also heard that there are Jawas roaming around that you can trade anything with, like a paperclip or anything, and they will trade you like a pin or something else that could be worth a decent amount of money. I did not see any Jawas, but I did navigate around, and they had some character meet and greets as well, and I had my Disney Visa character meet and greet opportunity there, which is why I headed over there. Which, if you don't know about the Disney Visa, check out my video from last week on ways to save at Walt Disney World, because that's an important one. But you do get some unique character meet and greets. So while there was a character meet and greet for people who didn't have a Disney Visa, I got to walk straight into Kylo Ren, and that was by far one of the best experiences I had on my trip. This photo, it just captures that moment perfectly. I was so intimidated by this man dressed as Kylo Ren that it was hilarious, and I couldn't look at him, and I backed up, and it was just really, really entertaining. You forget what it's like when you actually see these characters come to life. More so than even the cartoon characters, for me, seeing the Star Wars characters come to life was really interesting. So I met him, I met Chewbacca, and I met BB-8, that was great. And there's just some good museum-like aspects to this exhibit, and you can walk around and do some things and see some nostalgia things. One of my favorite parts was you get to see Ezra Bridger's lightsaber, which is interesting because that's Star Wars Rebels, which I didn't expect to see too much of, but there was that. So launch bay, it's interesting. I'm betting that it's gonna go away when Galaxy's Edge opens up. So if you do wanna do that, I would recommend going to it sooner rather than later, before the end of 2019. After that, I head over to Star Tours. And if I'm honest, Star Tours might be one of the most disappointing rides I rode while I was at Walt Disney World. That's weird, right? Because I'm a big Star Wars fan. I just think that the story feels really squeezed in and shoehorned into the new Star Wars canon, that it didn't make sense. You go back to Crate, which is from The Last Jedi, and you're like, why am I on Crate? I don't know. And they kind of give you reasons to it, but it just doesn't really work, in my opinion. It is still a fun ride, but it really hasn't changed, and the story doesn't really add anything to it. Now, there are multiple stories to it, so I want to go again, and I have a fast pass for my next time, but I'm interested to see if it's actually worth doing or not. Finally, there was Muppet Vision 3D. And I love Muppet Vision. I think it's great, but I was really surprised that it had not been updated in 20 years. Actually longer than that, since I first wrote it in 1996, I think. Now, I did learn later that this is the final thing that Jim Henson worked on before he passed away, so it's probably why they haven't updated it. It could use a little TLC, though. This effects are so great, but I think that maybe like a little bit of a refurb to the theater or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what I would do to it. Even though that it is an older experience, I am happy that they keep the Muppets around. They have them in Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and Magic Kingdom. It isn't great to see them because they aren't doing so well in terms of marketing after the TV show flopped and the movies didn't pan out the way Disney wanted them to, I guess. The first one did really well, the second one didn't. I don't know. I'm just glad they keep the Muppets around because I grew up loving the Muppets, and I think they're a perfect fit for Disney, and they just have to figure out the best ways to use them, and I think they're doing a really good job of that in the parks. So this is the rides I rode at Hollywood Studios, and there are 5. So if I had to pick my top 3, it's probably gonna be Tower of Terror for sure, Rock and Roller Coaster, and then Muppet Vision. I can't list Star Tours, and Launch Bay's not really a ride, so it's kind of a little bit harder to list that. But those are my 3. Again, Hollywood Studios is really interesting to me because it is changing so much, and that is being very intentional. It is going from a behind the scenes look at the movies to a being in the movies perspective. I miss some of the old classic rides. I miss the Great Movie Ride. I wish I was able to ride that one more time. I miss the backstage tour ride. I thought that was cool too. I remember doing that. And it was just a neat experience to see some houses that you'd seen filmed for TV shows like the Golden Girls and other things, and seeing how special effects work in that canyon that floods and all those kind of things. But it is what it is, and I'm excited for where they're going with Hollywood Studios. So let me know what your favorite Hollywood Studios ride is in the comments. And be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter because we're going to talk some more about there. And I'm still posting photos from my trip and posting some things about my upcoming trip, which is almost 40 days away, which is crazy, just a little bit over a month. And I'm really excited. I'm really anxious to get back to Orlando and Walt Disney World, and to things like Sing Dog Dash, and the Halloween party, and Food and Wine Festival. There's gonna be a lot going on that weekend. So make sure you're subscribed, and until next week, guys, I hope you have a great day. Are also at Epcot, and they are also at Magic Kingdom. Mute your computers when you're recording so people don't make noises. Okay, what was I saying?